on 1, PR was on 2, I was on 3, Smash was on 4, then Glenn, then Timmy, and then Red. So there were 7 of us until Smash blew us off in the middle of the tour. Which is okay. Then we're in a room with Scott Brown relearning the entire show, which was kind of funny and cool at the same time. So the family aspect of, I moved in with Timmy. We had a great kinship that began very quickly off of a can of Copenhagen, probably, but probably 2 cans. His family was gracious enough to invite me into their world, in their home, and Timmy and I lived together for 4 years. There's 11 kids in the Cohealy family, he's number 12. It's that simple, it's how it works. And we were talking today to the bass drum line, and there's a kid on the bottom bass, his name's Mel, he plays like a little girl, but we're gonna teach him how to not play like that. So that's why Timmy and Mr. Black are here. So anyway, he talked about the relationships and the friendships that you have with these people will last forever. High school guys, college guys, it won't matter. You know, and Timmy and I have talked every year, at least probably 5 or 6 times a year, especially at Christmas, whenever things are going on. And now that when Chris and I started doing the drum corps, you know, he's always calling to find out what's going on and what he can do to help us and all those kind of things. So, I can't think of a better way to talk about friendship and family. Family is the most important thing. And that's one thing that Chris and I, from day one, started making sure that the members knew that this was about a family. We teach people how to do things. You work hard and you be nice to people. I remember probably 2 or 3 days into all days when we started spring training, kids were coming up to us going, "Why don't y'all yell at us?" And we're like, "What? Why do we have to yell at you? Why can't you just do what you're supposed to do and everybody get along and work hard?" And that began the change of the trajectory, whatever that word is, of the drum corps and how the world is going to view Spirit of Atlanta. And through the work that they've done, the kids have done, and the board has done, and everybody's done, that's kind of where we are today. So, Chris had Martha. I have Sharon. Like, I wasn't smart enough not to marry into the family of Spirit of Atlanta, but I knew Freddie and Dan way before I even knew Sharon. When I came around in '91, I decided I was going to come and just drive a Chevy van around, kitchen van or something like that, and she chased me around Staten Island one afternoon, and that was kind of it. Same kind of conversation. I walked in after Chris and I had the Starbucks meeting, and I go, "I think Chris and I should just do it." Stone cold, because she knew what it was going to be. But after we sat and chatted a little bit, she's like, "You need to go do it. That's what you need to do." And she, like Martha, has been right by my side every bit of the way. When you have a spouse in this activity, they become part of the activity also. And you have to constantly be there for them, and they have to be there for you, and that's how this all works. It's like a great marriage and a great family. So I cannot express how proud I am to be a part of this family and to keep everybody moving in the right direction and helping kids out and making sure that at the end of the day they have what they need. You know, at the end of the night, Chris and I'll ask them all, "Hey, what do you need for today? What do you need for tomorrow?" That's a heck of a lot better kind of attitude than anything that we can kind of think of. So let me look, make sure I didn't miss anything here. No. I think that might be it. Thank you very much.
rich when I married into this wonderful Martin family. Freddie and I are here to introduce our amazing, wonderful, loving, dedicated, my sister-in-law, his sister. So he's going to come up in just a minute. What I want to do is tell you about how she and I are sort of parallel in how we knew nothing about drum corps. I was a singer, got my vocal degree in chorus, met Freddie here in Southerners, and I didn't know anything about drum corps. I'd never marched band, nothing like that. We met in the Southerners, and Freddie decided to take a whole bunch of us in '69 to Atlanta, the American Legion finals. This was way before DCI. I flipped out. I loved it. It's the most exciting thing I had ever seen. So I loved it. We married the year after that. We used to travel all in the summer in groupies for drum corps. Well, fast forward to Sharon. When she was 17, she didn't know anything about drum corps. Loved band, but she didn't know anything about drum corps. Freddie said to her, "I want you to go with us. We're going to take a trip. I want you to experience this and see how you like it." So we picked her up from band camp the next day, flew to Philadelphia. Got there, a whole bunch of people met us, and she was so perplexed and confused because everybody was upset that the muchachos had been disqualified for overage marchers, and she had no idea what that meant, didn't say anything. We came back to the show the next day, and as the day went on, her eyes got bigger and bigger and bigger, and she loved it. She leaned over to Freddie at one time. "What in the world are those guys in green shirts running around down in there in the middle of everything?" He had to explain to her they were judges. It's part of the whole thing. So she was a novice. As she puts it, I was clueless. Well, lo and behold, Santa Clara comes onto the field, and she was hooked for life. She wanted to march with that drum corps, and that's where she was going to go. Well, little did she know that her brother had in his mind he wanted to start one of these himself, and he and Bob Haynes set about to do just that. And soon after that, Paul Milano came and joined us, and we all became a family in this. And then she marched with her brother's drum corps. So she never got to Santa Clara, but she is an avid drum corps person, always has been. Met her husband in Spirit of Atlanta, just like, oh my gosh, how many of you out there met your spouse in Spirit of Atlanta? Yeah, a lot of us. Well, we were before that, but anyway, it's just the way it goes. It's a family, and it's absolutely amazing. She is dedicated, met the love of her life in Spirit of Atlanta, and they do everything together. And we are so very proud of you, Sharon. You deserve this.
Just to be brief, I was born at a very early age. One of the dangers I understand in this world over my life has been you don't want Freddie to ask you. We were in trouble. I don't remember exactly which year because my memory's going, but the reality was we needed somebody to do souvenirs for the first week. So I finally said to Sharon, will you do souvenirs for us for just these first 5 days? We'll make it easy on you. It won't be too tough. We need you to do souvenirs. Well, those 5 days turned into 13 years, something like that. And it was the most successful souvenirs that we had done, other than the obvious when Linda was doing So we're pleased. The Martins sort of hang together. We support each other. We were raised by a mom that basically said, if it's not worth doing together, it's not worth doing. If you're not going to go to the important events in the rest of your family's life, then you're just not going to be part of the rest of the family. It's that simple. And so it's been that way always. Whether it was my band at South Cobb or Dan's band at Sprayberry or Sharon's amazing career at Marist doing musicals and fabulous choral groups. We're always there helping each other. Miriam is always there. Anything we need her to do, she'll do it. She was a band kid too. She just had better sense than the rest of us. So there are many ways to congratulate, in my opinion. I was leaving the field today and I told the kids, I said, I'm so proud of you. The improvement you've made and the direction you take and who you are shows through in everything you're doing. That's the quality of what you get. And I told somebody recently, this is in the top 3 groups of kids that I've ever taught. That I enjoy them so much and I miss them when I'm not with them. Even some of the things that are a little less enjoyable, right? Like 95 degrees. But because of that, Sharon has dedicated herself as recently as a couple weeks ago to even come over and work on the food crew for a few days because there was a need. And so she said she took care of it, didn't you? Yep, just like you always do. So please, all of you, join me in welcoming Sharon Cohealy so appropriately into the Spirit of Atlanta Hall of Fame. It's Sharon Martin Cohealy.
Oh, thank you, Freddie and Linda. I love you guys. Y'all are awesome. And thank you to the Hall of Fame committee. I think I'm still in the stunned state about this whole thing because I just have done what I wanted to do with the drum corps. And Freddie sort of took a little bit of my thunder, but we'll get that in just a minute. I was a charter member, and that's like really wow to me now. When we were doing it, I was like, this is fun, this is great, it's a lot of hard work, but it's good. Our first tour was kind of like an extended band trip, but we soon learned after that how to tour correctly. And let's see, first show we phased like a dog for the first third of the opener until the drum break, and then we got it back together. But we beat somebody. We won. We beat somebody. So anyway, it was such a fun activity. It was and it was what I had always wanted it to be. Now, had I ever done flag before? Oh no, I was a flute and piccolo player. That's all I ever did in marching band at Marietta High School. But I learned, and one of my best friends and was my seat partner, Sandra Adams Beckton, helped me learn how to do flag, as did my sister-in-law and a couple other friends here at Jack State. It was just, I don't know, it was just what I thought it was going to be, but harder. But we were all so willing to work, and we kind of didn't know, back then, okay, we're doing drum corps, yay. And there were a few people that had marched in Charioteers. Anybody here that did Charioteers? Go Mike. And so they sort of helped us figure out some things here and there. Anyway, it was just wonderful. And some of the memories I have, there was one when we were at Championship Week in Denver, and we were staying at a private school. I don't remember the name. Mike probably does.
Kent Country Day School.
The country
Kent
day school.
Country Day School.
Yeah, that's right. And we all came in from rehearsal for lunch, and all the food ladies were just boohooing. And we were like, what's the matter? What's happened? Elvis died. We were like, oh, okay. And then in that same time in Denver, we went to that really cool restaurant with the diving people. Remember that?
Casa Bonita.
Yep. Gosh, you all remember stuff. All right. And then one of the places that we performed that stuck with me and still was Pueblo. Pueblo Pride City. And that was pretty fun. But we also had some interesting venues, even like our home show, it was a baseball field, you know, and I don't think they took the mound down, I can't remember. Anyway, it was a million years ago, but it was so fun, and there's so many great memories and great friends that I made during that event. All right, so my souvenir days, okay? Yeah, and someone asked me to do for a week, just like he told you. And I was like, okay. 1988, Petrushka, show that was very before its time. But I love that show. But, and I finished technically in 1993, and I call it the longest week of my life. It wasn't 16 years or whatever you said, but I love that too. And it was my way of helping the drum corps and being with my brother and sister-in-law and family. My nieces had both marched in the corps. So anyway, I loved it. So we did Petrushka, we did, we did the Gone with the Wind show, the Glory show. And during those years that I got to do souvenirs, I had tons and tons of wonderful volunteers. And if any of those are out here, thank you, because it's such a fun thing and it's such a great job, but it's an important job because we help keep food on the table on the road. Let's see, what else? Oh, so I had some really good designers that did the shirts. The Glory ones were some of my absolute favorites. They were gorgeous. And then there's also the ever popular, frankly, my dear, I don't give a flam. That is still talked about to this day. We could not keep that one in. Those were the days of milk crates, and we rolled shirts really tightly by size in those milk crates, and then we would pick one up and take it out to the van, and then we would take it off the van and set it up at the show, and every day. And we do, you know, inventory to make sure we had enough stuff during the days out in the sun. And that was part of the time when I got to do some of my favorite things, which were talking to the kids, watching the kids rehearse, getting to see the show that night and see what changes had clicked and which ones maybe didn't. And just being a part with those kids and talking to them. It was just so neat. Did anybody in here march when I was doing souvenirs? Make me feel old. Oh, Lord. Okay. But anyway, one of my other favorite memories of doing Suvies, and it's been referred to tonight. I don't remember the year, but I think Alan probably will. We were leaving on first tour, and Ginger Armstrong and her mom Brenda and their baby Caitlin were traveling in the Suvi van. Now Caitlin was in her little baby seat, child seat. And Ginger was a great salesperson and a great mom, and Brenda had baby duty a good bit of time, but she also helped us sell. And Alan drove some nights. I remember he drove us out the first day. And were you driving in New York City?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So it was, so anyway, it was so fun having that group of family with us and doing some really fun stuff together. Some of the things that I always told the people that worked, and it kind of evolved through the years, but what I told them was, we're the face of Spirit of Atlanta. We're the person that they can come and look at and speak to and ask questions. And I felt like that was such an important role for us to play. So I told them, we're the face, be pleasant, be helpful, answer questions about the Corps as we can, and never speak unkindly about another Corps. Always be the professional ones. And everybody did that. We went, tour back then stayed kind of the same from year to year as it does, I think, still. And remember we would go into West Virginia or Virginia and some of those shows, and people would come up and say, "Hey Sharon, how you doing?" Because they came every year and they came to us because they love Spirit of Atlanta. How's the choir doing? Is everything good? Can't wait to see them. You know, that kind of thing. And that was just really fun for me. All right. The other thing about when the kids, the marchers, would come to the table, we would talk some. But the brass players particularly would always come up and go, "Are we selling a lot of t-shirts today?" Because that was Freddie's mantra. Is it still?
It is too.
It is still. We gotta sell t-shirts. Gotta play well enough, perform well enough to sell those t-shirts. Last but not least, I met my wonderful husband on tour. He was driving the Food Ladies for First Tour in 1991. We met over gas pumps. It was really nice. And it's funny that he said this, and no, I did not chase him around the Staten Island Ferry on the day off in New York City. So I am so proud of this drum corps through every year, all the problems, all the difficulties, always proud. And I'm proud of what Chris and David have done together. I'm proud of what these people started. It's just a wonderful thing that needs to keep going. It needs to keep enjoying, and kids enjoying being in it, and audiences enjoying what we prepare for them. So thanks again, Hall of Fame committee, for this. I'm still in stunned state, but it's great. Thank you so much.